Hello, my loves. Welcome back to Chemistry with Kismet Tarot. I am Monica, the Kismet Chemist. If you are new to my channel, welcome. Welcome to the family. I am honored to have you here. If you are returning, welcome back. I have missed you. So in today's Pick a Card, we are going to be getting messages about what karmic blessings, karmic returns can we expect. We're looking at this area because on October 22nd, which is actually the evening in which I am filming this, Saturn stationed direct for the first time since June 5th of 2022. Now, Saturn's retrograde cycle was an important one, not just for anyone with Aquarius placements, but for the collective as a whole. Saturn is moving through the sign of Aquarius and will be exiting Aquarius in March of 2023. And this marks a significant shifting and time frame of transition, not just for Saturn's energy, but for us collectively. As Saturn transitions into the sign of Pisces, then Pluto is actually going to follow suit and transition into the sign of Aquarius. And so we are actually starting to experience these grand shifts with the planets that are leading the way into utter radical transformations. We have been in these energies for quite some time. When it comes to Saturn, as Saturn is a faster moving planet, Saturn has been in Aquarius since 2020. So the lessons and the wisdom and the cause and effect cycles that we have been in since 2020 have been some of the most radically transformative ones. I know for me personally, with Aquarius being my 7th house, this has been a radical transformation of my connections and my marriage, my interpersonal relationships, my business partnerships and relationships. These things have been radically, utterly transformed. And I have been radically and utterly transformed in the process. And a lot of it had to do with Saturn being in the 7th house, directly in opposition of my rising as well as my moon sign. And it was really this lesson of emotional awareness and emotional maturity and emotional elevation. And at the same time, not allowing my emotions to make me reactive. These are all lessons that I personally was learning. Wherever Saturn falls within your chart, the interactions of the planets in your natal chart, those lessons, those karmic upheavals and revelations, those awarenesses of the cause and effect of all things, those are the areas in which we are now being called to realize that as Saturn turns direct today and continues to move out of Aquarius, we're really due for some karmic blessings. And that depends, like, I don't want to say that and be quite so bold about that, because in all honesty, karma can be consequences or they can be results. Karma can be perceived as good or bad. It is literally just what happens as an effect of something, actions that we have taken, healing that we have done, awarenesses that we have gained, whatever it is. So each one of us is being called to ask deep within ourselves, how did this impact me? How was this transit for me? Think back all the way to 2020 and how you feel about karma in your life right now. And look at your natal chart. Find out what house Saturn's been transiting. How did this impact that specific area of your life? What we're looking at today is what Spirit and Saturn want us to be aware of, want us to know. So we have 4 piles. Each of the piles has a rune and one of the Herbal Astrology Oracle cards, which I'm super excited to premiere for this reading because, man, I tell you what, I have had these cards on pre-order, I want to say since August, maybe July, August area. So I've been super excited to get them. Like incredibly excited because you guys all know how much I love astrology. Well, I'm also learning herbs and I'm getting in touch with Mother Earth more and more as I practice my own form of kind of like solitary eclectic witchcraft. I'm really getting to know the different flowers and herbs and knowing that there is something like this oracle deck that has a correspondence. It's just beautiful. So let's go over the piles and then we're going to talk about the collective energy. We have the card 31 with cannabis and detachment with the waves rune. That's for pile 1. For pile 2, we have the card 27 with Reishi and retreat, and that is with the romance rune. Pile 3, we have the card 55 with Palo Santo and guardian, and that has the rings rune with it. And then pile 4, we have the card 48 with Kava Kava with community, and that has the star rune for it. Now, collectively speaking, I know that this is the scythe rune, but the primary focus is the harvest rune. If you think about a scythe is something that is used to cut the harvest plants. But the funny thing about this scythe rune, if you look, it actually has a very similar appearance to Jupiter's, or not Jupiter, to Saturn and his astrological sign. And I can actually show you why I say that. So if you look here, we've got Saturn here, and then we've got him here. And every time I look at Saturn, he always looks like a 5 to me. So this is just Saturn being like, let's talk about the harvest. So I originally thought it was the scythe until I looked at it. And then Saturn was like, hey, I'm here. So Saturn wants us to really look at what we're harvesting, what we're bringing in, what we are welcoming into our life. And this harvest is not about, it's not about something beneficial all the time. Harvest is simply us reaping what we have sown. And that's something that's very important. So Saturn wants to talk about what it is that we have sown that we are now going to begin reaping as Saturn moves out of the sign of Aquarius. So without further ado, I am going to give you guys some time. I do want to put a little edict out there. Cooper and Izzy are up right now and they're listening to music and kind of dancing around the kitchen. So if you guys can hear some background noise, I am going to put a background noise canceller on when I do my editing. But if you can hear them, I'm not even going to apologize. Like, I'm a mom. I've got kids. This is the way my life goes. And I'm filming on a weekend because I want to take next week off. So I did want to just put that edict out there that if you guys can hear them, it's just because they're up and it's, 7:30 on a weeknight or a weekend evening. And, we're getting all prepared for carving pumpkins and family night and whatnot tomorrow. So without further ado, I am going to play some music for you guys, and then I will see you at your piles. Hello, pile one. If you chose the first card, the card Cannabis with detachment and the number 31, as well as the Waves rune, this is the message all about your karmic blessings and essentially your karmic lessons. So I actually designed these cards in a specific way so that this is the cause, this is the lesson, and these are the blessings. Now, I got to tell you guys, I have attempted to make this video to film your pile. This is my third round. And every single time I am getting tripped up on the messages. It's as though there is kind of this block between my mind and my mouth, or there was. And the more that I get into this energy, the more I understand a little bit more. Now, the Cannabis card actually talks about how it's been used since ancient times, and I believe it's ancient since Taiwan. Let me actually pull the book on this, because I want to give you guys just some information. And if you weren't aware, this is literally a brand new deck, and I wanted to start off just kind of small, working with it in a small way so that we would have them as the key cards so we can work with it a little bit more. So it talks about detachment, deep contemplation, freedom from the pain body, inner calm, and immunity. And reversed, it would talk about being numb, being disassociated, neglect, chronic pain, not seeing a way out, trapped, and unsettled. The astrological rulers, and you can see those up on top, is Saturn and Neptune. And Saturn and Neptune as astrological rulers can actually seem kind of what's the word I'm looking for, Spirit? Contradictory? Is that the word I'm looking for? I think that's the word. I'm pretty sure that's the word. You know what bugs me the most is when I'm channeling and there are words that want to come out and I go, is this really the right word? Because I'm an author and I am, like, my kids know I'm a stickler for semantics. Like, to the core stickler for semantics. And then I sit here and I'm like, Spirit, I need you to help me with words here because my words are done. But this book, or this card itself, says cannabis is one of the oldest known psychotropic drugs or psychotropic herbs. The first recorded use of cannabis is from 8000 BC in an ancient village in Taiwan, where indigenous groups used hemp fibers in their fabrics, pottery, rope, and even their shoes, not relying on animal skin or even silk for clothing. In 4000 BC, in the Chinese village of Panpo, I'm probably saying that wrong, hemp was considered to be one of the 5 grains of China and thus a major food crop. In the Chinese Materia Medica from 2737 BC, hemp was recognized for its ability to treat over 100 medical issues, including gout, malaria, and rheumatism. The medicinal use of marijuana features heavily in Hindu religious texts. In the Vedas, for example, written between 2000 BC and 1400 BC, cannabis was considered a sacrament of Shiva, described as a source of happiness, a joy giver, and a bringer of freedom that was compassionately given to humans by the gods to relieve them of anxiety and help them achieve delight, as well as fearlessness. Cannabis's many uses fall mostly under Saturn and Neptune's rulership, with a strong Piscean undertone. Since it is a musculoskeletal relaxant, anti-inflammatory, and pain reliever, it is a great ally for those seeking to soften the rough edges of Saturn's impact. Its mood-enhancing, anti-anxiety, anti-inflammatory, and psychotropic properties belong to the realms of Neptune and therefore Pisces. So I'm actually going to skip the guidance because in this case, and I think one of the biggest reasons why I kept getting tripped up with you guys is because I understand on such a deep level what this message is about. And the waves being combined with this detachment, this cannabis card really, really, truly just hit me so hard in my feels, like in my heart space, so hard. Because for those of you who don't know, I was chronically ill. And I spent most of my adult life chronically ill. I spent most of my adult life in and out of hospitals. I've had over the past, I want to say 6-7 years, I have had more CT scans in the past 6 or 7 years than anyone is supposed to get in their lifetime, and then more after that. I have had in the past 10 years, something along the lines of 14 to 16 different surgeries. I have had more body parts removed from my body because of disease and dysfunction of those body parts than I think most people would. Aside from having both my kidneys and both my lungs, anything that can be parted out of me has pretty much been removed. I went through a phase from 2018 until 2020 in which I was chronically ill, in and out of the hospital. I found out I have an immunodeficiency, so my body doesn't produce antibodies properly. And then the big, like, 2020 shutdown of everything and an illness, the virus went through the world, and there I was stuck at home. And the doctors, the symptoms that I was having during that time, I looked like I had a brain tumor. And so the doctors were trying to get me to go to the ER. And there were people lining in the halls, like literally lining the halls, dying on a daily basis in the ER. And they were sending somebody with no immune system there because they believed I had a brain tumor that was so severe that it would kill me if I didn't. It was a damned if I do and damned if I don't situation. And it was truly that moment, that pressure that pushed me into learning alternative healing methods, learning alternative healing techniques, changing my lifestyle, getting sober, quitting smoking, meditating, learning Reiki, really working hard at healing myself because I had lost hope and lost faith in anything in the physical world. It was like modern medicine just utterly failed me during that time. And I had no other choice but to find another route. And that was literally how I came to spirit. This card talks about getting caught in the waves of the pain, of chronic illness, of feeling that essence of being trapped inside of your own body and feeling like you're going to be torn asunder, and no matter what you do, you'll never be able to break the surface. And it is terrifying and horrifying and painful and exhausting. It's so damn exhausting to live that way. But these two combinations, the waves and this card, cannabis, it really does talk about going back down to the roots and surrendering to the divine. And that literally was what I needed to do in my life, was surrender to another path, surrender to another possibility, surrender to seeing the truth of the things that I was carrying within. And when you can do that and you can learn how to elevate outside of the constant monkey mind that goes on, and the fears and the anguish and the anxiety and the worry and the feeling like you're trapped inside a body that you don't know, you don't like, it's just not you. Like, I'm literally hearing Denny. I'm hearing Denny from Grey's Anatomy, and in my head saying I'm a sad sack of a man or something like that, trapped, or he said, I'm a strong, virile horse of a man who's trapped inside the body of someone who I don't know, like, or recognize, as he is literally stuck in the hospital because he's dying and he feels like he doesn't have another option. Now, I'm not saying that this is that bad for you, but that's the energy that I get, is this chronic pain, this chronic illness. And and wondering, and you may have been contemplating using medicinal herbs to heal yourself. And I'm going to tell you guys, I used to have this as a medical necessity because it was absolutely needed. I personally, the person that I am, I don't like the lack of control. It makes me feel out of control, and I don't like that. And it's very reminiscent of when I drink. So I stopped using it. However, I do acknowledge the use and the benefits of using natural medicines. This past summer, I actually went on, we call it a nature walk, with psilocybin. And it was just something that I did. I wanted to experience it, but I also wanted to help myself loosen up and open myself more to my gifts because I was struggling against them because of fear. When you go through things like chronic illness, it can feel like you're caught in the middle of a riptide in life in general. And Saturn has really been putting you through the ringer in terms of your medical. And so I'm guessing for a lot of you, you either have Leo or Aquarius in your 6th house. And the reason why I say one or the other is because Saturn could be moving through your 12th house and be opposing that 6th house and really be putting that deep psychological subconscious pressure onto you and onto the ways in which you're moving through your life as far as your health goes. So that would be that pressure from Aquarius into Leo, or it could be that he was literally moving through your 6th house. And I'm telling you, when he moved through my 6th house, it was literally a wham, bam, like knock me down and out. And as soon as he left my 6th house, that's when I started healing. When he moved into my 7th house on a whole house level, that's when I started healing from all of this. And when this card talks about immunity, I can't help but think about that rare moment where we just figured out that I just don't seem to be able to get sick from the virus that's going around. I'm trying to mince my words really carefully because I don't want to get flagged for anything that I say. But I haven't gotten any kind of vaccination or anything like that, but I also haven't gotten sick from it. And it is literally like a karmic blessing that I've received from changing my life. For you guys in particular, it's like this sudden clarity came through or is going to be coming through about different perceptions and how your mindset really does impact your physical body as well as your pain body. So let's take a look at the cause and the lesson, and then we'll look at the blessings afterwards. So we have the cause is the 4 of Swords. And I got to tell you guys, this is one of the most beautiful decks I have ever gotten. And I've been holding on to it for quite a while before I wanted to use it on here, just because I really wanted to get in touch with the cards. This is the Weaver Tarot, and it is the Shadow edition. And I love the imagery, the coloring, all of it. And then, so this is the cause and this is the lesson. And we have the 6 of Swords. Okay. All right. So here, what I'm picking up here is this is literally, like I said, I was picking up a lot of pressure, like mental pressure, that monkey mind energy. There's this energy of realizing what mentalities are helping and hindering you. This 4 of Swords, the cause of it is literally that you are just going too much, too fast, too soon, too much. And now I'm hearing from friends in my head where Rachel was talking to her little sister and she's like, Amy, didn't you hear about the girl who did too much too soon? And Amy's like, no. And of course, Rachel's sisters are really like ditzy. But she goes, yeah, she died, Amy. She died. And I'm not like, don't worry, guys. I'm not saying that for you. It's just that we joke about this a lot. My daughter and I, Eliza and I joke about this all the time where I'm like, oh, she did too much too soon. Or like, oh, Eliza, haven't you ever heard of the girl who did too much too soon? And then she looks at me and her eyes go really big and she's got these big, beautiful, like chocolate brown eyes. And she looks at me and she goes, she died, Mom. And it's just really funny. But I do get the sense that you guys it was like you were constantly watching the clock feeling like, is this ever going to end? Is my time up? But it was more like the more you watched the clock, the more it felt like time was out of your hands. Spirit, can you help me translate that? Time. Okay, I keep getting time was out of your hands. So it's like you believed at some point that you were just doomed to this life that you're living. This is just the way that, like, this is just how the chips fell. This is just the hand that you were dealt. And there was nothing that you could do. So it was like you were biding time. But the cause of this here that you needed to learn the lesson of was literally like I just heard a lack of mindfulness. It was, and please know I'm not calling you out here. I feel like, you know what? I don't even feel like I need to say that because I feel like you're going to be like, yeah, you're absolutely right. I was not being mindful. I wasn't being mindful with the time that I was spending or the way in which I was spending my time here. But here's the lesson. The lesson is learning how to walk away. It's learning how to walk away from the things and the people and the places and the experiences, but more than anything, walking away from the mindset that really holds you back. The Six of Swords is literally the card of healing. It's the card of healing from old ways of being and old mindsets and old things and patterns and experiences that just don't serve you anymore. The Four of Swords is that slow down energy. It's that energy of it's time to stop, pause, reflect, rest. And if you weren't giving yourself enough rest time, if you weren't giving yourself enough time to just step back and feel and experience and really like tap into the joys that life had to offer for you, that's going to lead you down a path physically because your mind and your body are inextricably intertwined. You cannot separate the two. So you needed to learn what it was like to have this slowdown. And it wasn't, I get this sense of like Murphy's Law with you guys. What could go wrong would go wrong. But it wasn't about that. It was never about Murphy's Law. It was literally about learning how to slow down, how to engage with life, how to feel, experience, and really be in the moment and really allow yourself to tap in and connect to spirit in a way that you weren't doing before. Because spirit has been knocking on the door of your mind and knocking on the door of your heart and trying to get you to open up and to realize that, hey, I'm here. So yes, it can feel like you had to be torn asunder and sucked down to the bottom of the deepest abyss of the ocean and trying to fight your way to the surface. And I'm literally seeing this in my head, like as the metaphor, like you were trying to fight your way to the surface. And really what spirit wanted you to do was just connect a little bit more. All right, let's find out what the blessings are, because I do see with the lesson of walking away, especially with this rose here, it's like you literally did it. There's a bone, a sort of bone here, and then here is a rose. It's like you walked away from what was calcified, what was hardened, what didn't serve, and you walked towards something that made you feel beautiful, or it made you feel like you were engaging in beauty and life again, like you were able to finally see life again. It's like waking up and suddenly you could see in like 4K definition after being blind. And that's what I get the feeling, the lesson that you learned was how to move forward, how to walk away, how to really engage in life. And then that actually turns the waves energy. And now the waves energy feels like a kind of like lazy river that you would go on at a water park where you're just like in the inner tube and just kind of floating along. And now that it feels like that's what you did, like you learned how to flow with life instead of flowing against life. And that's a really beautiful thing. But it took a lot. It took a lot of like literally combating your own mind. So let's see what the blessings are. We have the 8 of Swords. Oh, I already know where this is going. And the World. Woohoo! I'm sorry. Can we celebrate this moment right here and right now? Because this literally is Saturn coming in, and because this is Saturn's card, the World. This is coming in and saying that feeling that you have had about being trapped, that feeling that you couldn't get out, that feeling that you couldn't surpass it, all those mentalities, all those mindsets, completed. And now, are you guys from the, I think it was a rising sign or a collective message or something like that, where I was hearing they understood the assignment. That keeps coming through with one or more of my piles. And I cannot be more proud of you guys, because this means this is showing me that you literally were up against the odds. You have 4, 6, and 8. Like you're leaping forward. You're leaping forward. You're like, no, we're gonna double down and do this. We are going to overcome this. And you did. This is literally, your blessing is literally an end to feeling trapped, an end to being trapped within your own mind, an end to being trapped within your body, an end to being trapped in this way of being, and the embracing of something more beautiful. Like literally the World card here, guys, like you closed this cycle. This is your blessing. And Saturn is literally saying like, you are not trapped anymore. You're free. And this is a beautiful energy. We have get creative. Guys, what do you want to make? And compassion. Oh my gosh. And on the back of the deck, we have play. See, this is literally what you learned. You learned how to have compassion for yourself. You learned how to take a break, to slow down. But now you're being called to really get creative with this empathy, this compassion, this understanding, this awareness that you have gained. Because, you know, just like me sitting here and struggling to start this pile so many times, I have the feeling that you guys may be struggling to start some sort of creative project. There's this energy of being a little bit afraid of kicking up another dust storm. And I got to tell you guys, I've been hesitant about starting next year's retrograde books this early, because I just finished, like, I literally wrote and published 7 books this year. And I'm sitting there going, I'm starting to get that writing bug. And as I get that, then I'm like, am I ready for this? Am I ready to go and do this double duty again? But I really feel like I'm getting there. I just needed a break. I needed that time to really take a step back, to take a break, to take some relaxation, to really just dive into things and get my schedule set and get, my collab set and stuff like that, and figure out where I wanted to go from there. And now that I'm there, now I'm like, okay, I feel like I'm ready. Now, the reason I'm saying this is because you may be a little bit afraid, because I'm getting just this little hesitancy. And I don't mean a fear, like a true deep fear, but just a little hesitancy in actually engaging with something that's going to be very time consuming. But Spirit's saying you've learned how to be very compassionate with yourself. You've learned how to balance play and work. You've learned this lesson. And Saturn is literally sitting here going, dude, you've learned this lesson so hard that we're closing this cycle out. You don't even have to go to the 10 of Swords. We're just going to close it out at the 8 of Swords. You're not trapped anymore. You have conquered your mind. And because you've conquered your mind, you know that you can take a break, and you know how to take breaks and give yourself the rest that you need. So go ahead and allow yourself to get creative, because what you're going to create based off of your experiences, and this is what I'm getting the most, is that you want to create something based off of your experiences. And that is something that the world is needing, ready for, anxious for, more so than you think. It's almost like you guys are manifesting in reverse. So everything in the outside world is beautifully and perfectly aligned for you, and they're waiting on you on this one. So for that message to come through, it's kind of like you have as much time as you need, because they're literally waiting for you. And I don't know if you guys saw that, but I'm going to put them back because there were 4 of them that came out, but we do have this trust card. And to me, that literally says, like, spirit and your guides especially are saying, trust yourself on this, but trust this message as well, because it's time for you to restart. All right. They want these 2. We've got the card Enlightenment and Going Forward. So, and on the back, we have Power. Look, see, you're not going to have to go through the storm again. You have gone through this storm. You have reached this point of being enlightened about something specific, something very specific to you. The best teachers are those who have experienced. The best counselors are those who have suffered and struggled with mental health. The best doctors are those who have been sick and know what it's like. The best people that are in their fields are the ones that have experienced the downfall that led them into their fields. So the best psychics are, to me, the best psychics are the ones that really fight being psychic, because, or no, they're the ones that struggled to embrace this part of themselves. I think about, hearing about all the different psychics and the ways in which they have struggled to embrace their gifts, the way that they have struggled to follow this path. And if it were not for them talking about them struggling, I would not have felt as though I was safe to say I struggled with my path as well. I struggled to embrace my gifts. I struggled to believe in my gifts and myself. And it's because of that it makes you the strongest person for what it is that you want to do, because you understand it and you know it. And so moving forward, we're going to get just one of these super attractor cards for you. And you can take this as something to help launch you going forward. But I'm both of them. Of course, I say 1 and the universe dumps 2. I know that it may seem hard, it may seem scary, but I'm letting you know right now that I can tell, I can feel it from your guides that this hesitancy that you have is something that will move. You'll be able to move beyond it soon. All right, so we have my super attractor power comes from how I feel, my faith in love, and the joy I put out. This is that same premise of you get what you give kind of thing. And then we have my true safety lies in my capacity to align with the love of the universe. Okay, see, and these are both root chakras. So this is telling me that whatever enlightenment you have, it has everything to do with being safe and secure within the universe, within spirit, and within your role with spirit, despite the way that your world looks, despite the way that your body reacts, despite anything else. So I'm going to move these here. And if you guys want to take a screenshot of these, just so that they are, so you can just kind of work with them and really tap into these energies moving forward. But I do want you to know that your guides are literally saying just so clearly, I can feel it, I can hear it. They're saying so clearly that you have the way. You know the way. You know the path. You've charted the stars in this direction. And I don't mean astrology necessarily. For some of you, it could be. but it's more like you have mapped this out and you know the path to go forward on it. Allow yourself to really get creative on this, because what you're here to share with the world is something that will help revolutionize the world. And when you step into this understanding and this faith and in yourself and what you're here to do, that's when you change this place, this 3D reality, this whatever you want to call it. That's when you change the world. You've already changed yourself. Now it's time for you to move forward and show everybody else how to do that. You have moved beyond the pain body, moved beyond the chronic illness, and that's a huge, huge, huge thing. And even if you are afraid that that's not the case, put your trust and your faith in yourself, in what you've done, and in the universe, and that will never lead you astray. Okay, pile 1. I want to say thank you so much. Thank you for being here. Thank you to your guides and my guides for facilitating the connection between us. Thank you to Spirit for these amazing messages. And especially thank you to Saturn for always being so willing to work with me to bring forth these energies and these awarenesses and these messages for the collective, and for not being too hard on everybody. I have great respect and admiration for what you do for all of us and the changes that you have wrought in my own life. And I appreciate you doing this for the collective as well. So thank you. All right, pile 1. If this resonated, please hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of my upcoming videos. Down in the comment section below, let us know how this resonated. We want to know what you guys are thinking, how you're doing, how you're feeling, but also just want all you pile 1s to be able to see that you're not alone. Don't forget to check the description box for links to my author page. Mars is going retrograde on the 30th. The retrograde guidebook is available in ebook, paperback, and Kindle Unlimited on Amazon today. Get your copy now. I know I have people jumping on it from all over the place right now. And that really, I feel so much better every time I know somebody is reading it. Not for my sake, but for the sake that Mars was so adamant, the world needs to hear this. So I feel like Mars is getting a voice, and that always makes me feel great. So, all right, pile 1, I love you all. I will see you at my next reading. Bye. Hello, pile 2. If you chose the second stone, the Romance Rune, as well as the card 27 with Reishi and Retreat, this is your message about your karmic lessons and karmic blessings. So the number one thing that I got is you may have Saturn in Sagittarius in your chart. You may have Saturn in Leo in your chart. Or you may have Saturn conjunct Jupiter or the Sun in any houses, really. But there's a lot of 9th house Sagittarius energy here. This does correlate to Jupiter and the Sun. And this is my new herbal astrology oracle. And I don't know if you guys caught the unboxing of this. I just did a quick little short. But because it is a new one, I chose to do this as the intro cards. So I'm actually going to read from the book what this card means. And it says 27 Reishi, Retreat. Upright means retreat, recovery, meditation, hibernation, spiritual contemplation, replenishment of spirit. Now, here's the funny thing, because the reversed actually had so much of the same thing. So reverse, this card would mean silence, recovery, time to pause, overstimulation, stress, deterioration, and nearing burnout. Give me just a moment. Winifred is ringing the doorbell. Okay, I am back. I want to say that she did this during Sagittarius rising signs as well. So yeah, that Sagittarius energy is really strong here. But the what caught me with this is the upright and the reversed almost feel like the quite similar energies, but it's that emphasis on right on the edge of for the reversed. This is what the book says. Called Lingzi in Chinese, reishi represents immortality and is considered the herb of spiritual potency, meaning success, well-being, divine power, and longevity. Said to have been discovered in 396 BC in the Shanghai Mountains of China by Taoist monks, it is one of the oldest mushrooms used in medicine. It has long been called an anti-aging mushroom and powerful Shen tonic, a category of medicines that nourish the spirit. In China's oldest Materia Medica, the herbal classic, written around 200 CE, reishi held first place above ginseng. The text said reishi helps stabilize qi in the head and assists in mental activities, tonifies the spleen, increases wisdom, and improves memory. Long-term consumption will lighten the body, increase vitality, and delay aging for years. Now, this is where I am called to leave it be, because we're talking about the qi, or the ka, the chi, the Shakti energy. This is about your crown chakra. Now, this being a very potent substance, because it is a mushroom, it's a very potent substance, but I'm going to move this up one more time. And I know I did that as you guys were picking, but it almost looks as though there's light language written on this card in particular. And you can see the bear over here. What I'm getting from this, and with the romance rune in particular, and I have to tell you, the back of the deck energy that you guys had was the Two of Cups. And if you've been following my channel for a while, you know that when it comes to this romance rune, I don't automatically go to relationships, but something that I picked up very strongly from you guys was you may either be in a relationship, or you may have been seeking relationship advice a lot during Saturn's transit through Aquarius. And that's from 2020 on, like the entire transit, because we're looking at a culmination of karmic lessons and karmic blessings from the entire transit from 2020 up through 2023. And I apologize if you guys can see like the mark. That's actually hair dye. I just got done dyeing my hair tonight. But this energy that I'm picking up is deeply about attracting a soulmate, or coming into a soulmate union, or just having this harmonious relationship. And something that I'm getting here is a huge karmic lesson that you learned. And really the overall lesson that I'm picking up here is how to embrace yourself, how to pull yourself back from this constant focus on that kind of connection in order for you to actually find harmony within your connections. I'm going to have to pause real quick. I will be right back. All right, you guys, I apologize for that. I was literally smelling coffee, and I know that I made coffee earlier, but my throat has been a bit raw with the weather changes and how much I've been channeling lately. So Spirit was like just a kind of like gentle reminder for me to go and get something nice and warm for my throat. Now, this again is something that correlates to your guys' energy, because this retreat card talks about taking a step back. It talks about hibernation. It talks about allowing for Spirit to pour into you. Now, with the Two of Cups being this back of the deck energy, along with the romance rune and this reishi and retreat energy, what I'm actually picking up from you is this lesson that you had to learn surrounding your connections and surrounding that balance of the self with the connections, but also trusting in your heart enough. If you're in a connection, trusting in your heart enough to allow for Spirit to bring forth more healing into that connection through surrendering to Spirit's guidance and Spirit's path. And Saturn sometimes we can have a hard time seeing the planets and spirit in a connected kind of way, because when we think about astrology, we're talking in far more scientific terms. And this may just be me personally that feels this way, but Saturn, I want you guys to think of Saturn and any of the other planets as just pieces of spirit teaching us lessons, pieces that belong to the whole. Because that's something that we're learning within ourselves as well as within our connections. Each one of us are pieces of the whole of all things and all people and all places and all times, and all of that esoteric, very extreme esoteric side. But this is literally like you're learning that Saturn was really teaching you how to care for yourself and how to trust spirit and allow spirit to pour into you so that your connections would be whole and healthy and healed. And in order to do that, you likely had to go through a lot of really unhealthy, unhealed, hard interactions and connections. And I've been there, I've done that, I've experienced that a lot during this transit. That tells me that you may be a Leo rising. You may have, you may be a Leo rising. I really can't change that any other way, for the sake that a lot of this energy is Saturn in the 7th house. So, all right. So what we're going to look at here is, this is the cause. So this is why you had to learn the lesson. This card here is the actual lesson, the karmic lessons. And these two represent the karmic blessings from learning this lesson. So let's look at the cause and the lesson first. So the cause is judgment. Yes, we've got the judgment card here. And then the lesson is the Ace of Cups. Okay, so see, we have the Ace of Cups, and the energy on the back is the Two of Cups. This is hearing the calling of your soul about opening back up to love and love in a new way. And remember, we talked about spirit pouring into you. The cups really do represent this empty chalice, or this open portion of ourselves that we're allowing spirit to pour into. Now, if you look here, we've got the Judgment card, and we've got 3 sets of hands and 3 eyes. And I just heard 3's a crowd. So please don't take that to mean like I'm implying a third-party situation. I don't actually pick that up at all. What I mean by 3's a crowd here is like, you can't have other people trying to place judgment on the connections that you have in your life. So some of you may have been going to, say, a lot of relationship pick-a-cards and finding that you felt more frustrated and more confused and more pained after the readings. And hey guys, like, I've been there, I've done that. And I know that I have put out relationship readings too. This is why I try not to do that, because my purpose and my goal and my path here in life is to help empower the individuals so that each one of us can come into a wholeness within ourselves so that we actually have healthier connections. It's really strange because I get the energy, like in pick-a-card readings or personal readings that people do for me, I always hear that I would be a really great like relationship counselor or anything like that. But in reality, it's because in order to have that kind of relationship, you have to harness the power of the wholeness within the self. And I feel like this is something that you actually were learning through Saturn's transits, is you were learning how to make a judgment call on what you were experiencing in the outside world, how you interacted with the outside world, and how you viewed romance. I got to tell you guys, what's coming through here really strongly is that concept of happily ever after. And I know I've talked about this on my channel before. And so I don't know if you guys are that same energy. Some of it feels familiar, but a lot of the energies that I'm working with right now are newer energies than what I'm used to. So what I picked up from that is the concept that happily ever after is never that like, we're going to get married and then everything's going to be good. It was more happily ever after and any kind of connection. If you think about, and I can't remember where I heard this analogy, but I love this analogy so much. So when you get married or when you come into a relationship, and this can be any relationship, it doesn't have to be romantic. It can be platonic, working relationships, anything, even your relationship with spirit. And please understand, I do genuinely mean even your relationship with spirit. If you guys watch my imposter syndrome video, you know that spirit and I butt heads all the time. Spirit will be like, you should do this. And I'll be like, no. And then spirit will be like, you should do this. And I'll be like, why? And we'll go back and forth. And this is because we have this beautiful blessing of free will, but it doesn't mean that a relationship with spirit is so beautiful and blessings and like that happily ever after. No. And in my opinion, spirit doesn't ever want us to be that way. Spirit wants us to come to the table and see that we're co-creating. So spirit wants our input on things. And in order for our input to be included in things, we have to feel strong enough to do that. Now, the analogy that I was talking about, and this applies to any kind of interaction, has to do with two people. And I'm actually I'm gonna take this down and I'm gonna use these stones because you know what? They are perfect because it talks about two people. So you have two people here. They're just like these stones. And you can't really make them fit together. Like you can, but see, there's gaps and there's breaks and they don't really fit exactly together. So what happens when two people come together into a connection is they have to bash into each other over and over and over again and rub on each other and move around. And it's testing limits, testing boundaries, moving through pains, moving through experiences, moving through anything from the past. It's moving through these things and doing this. And eventually the pieces slowly become pliable to each other so that they become more like these runes where they are flat surfaced and now they fit together perfectly. They move very smoothly along each other's edges. So this is what it means to come into an actual union. You have to endure that butting of the heads over and over and over again so that you see where you and this person fit together, but you also recognize the differences, the pains, the traumas, the everything. Now, we do this even in our relationship with spirit. And sometimes we have to pull ourselves back from any other kind of relationship because three's a crowd. And when we're getting in touch with spirit and spirit is saying, please allow me to pour back into you. And we're not letting spirit pour back into us because we're afraid that if we pull back from anything in the outside world, then we're going to have it fall apart. Then we can't hear what we're being called to hear. We can't hear that judgment call. You, on the other hand, were learning how to hear that calling of your heart, that calling of your soul, that calling that said, allow me to pour back into you from spirit. And even as hard as it may have been for you to take that step back and to be like, okay, spirit, what do you need from me? And then spirit says, let me give you this. And you say, no, I don't want that. But spirit said, no, but this is how I'm pouring into you. You can have that discord, but it's better for you to allow spirit to pour into you. So let's find out what the karmic blessings are from this lesson of allowing spirit to pour back into you. We have the 8 of Cups and the World. Saturn is literally like, this is ending. I just think this is so great. And it's so funny because I literally shuffle the crap out of these cards in between. I sit and shuffle for like 5-10 minutes. And at the same time, Saturn's coming in and being like, this is what's closing. This is the pattern that's closing. You heard the judgment call. You let spirit pour back into you. What is closing is this feeling that you always have to go and run away. That you have to run away, that you have to leave, that you have to go somewhere, that you have to, I just heard that you have to walk. The Eight of Cups talks about leaving something behind and going to find your Nine of Cups. But every time I look at that card, it's literally like going to find that Nine of Cups to bring it back. You don't go through collecting that Eight of Cups for absolutely nothing. And I just can't be that person that's like, yeah, just walk away, because you have 8 cups there, and they're 8 cups that are filled. They're not broken. They're not bloodied. They're not bruised. They're not bad. They're filled. In this 8 of Cups in particular, it's showing you that you're climbing that mountain. You're getting to the top. And it's like Saturn is coming here and saying you completed this cycle of emotional, oh God, it's like emotional hardship. I don't know how else to explain it. It's like emotional hardship. It's you've completed this cycle of this pain and having to walk away from things that you love and people that you love, because you may have had to actually do that and withdraw your energy, or even just this fear that you're going to lose everything, that these 8 cups are going to be toppled and you're never going to get to the 9 of Cups. You'll have to go all over again. You are on an emotional journey, a deep, deep emotional journey. So you may have had, this is a new one coming through. You may have Aquarius in your 4th house as well. Interesting. I say that because there is that deep energy, and that 4th house is really deep energy. So we have higher perspective. Yeah, you guys were constantly like inundated with it. You have to walk away from this. You have to walk away from this. And it's walking away from an emotional cycle is hard. And you can very easily attach the emotions to something outside of yourself. And when you attach the emotions to something outside of yourself, it can actually wreak havoc in your life. So that whole 3's a crowd. When you're being called to end an emotional cycle, it's really hard to do that when you're in a connection, because the messages will always come through as walking away from a connection, because that's the common reasoning for it. But this is showing me that you literally had to pull back from anything and everything that had anything to do with romance, love, relationships out in the outside world, because everything was reading the energy wrong. And what the energy was saying is it was time for you to close this chapter out. You had the emotional foundation of the 5 of Cups, and you knew the emotional foundation was of pain. You've dealt with the emotional foundation of pain and loss and destruction. And then the second layer, you've got 3 of Cups. So this is telling me that a lot of this had more to do with your friendships than with your actual like partnerships, because the back of the deck energy was the 2 of Cups. But here we have a set of 5 and a set of 3. So this is telling me that this was more about an emotional cycle within your friendships. 3 is a crowd. You can't be looking at this and this and this and have all of it make sense. You had to elevate to a higher perspective. So something had to be removed. And what I'm seeing here was removed was literally you. You took yourself out of the situations. When you did that, you gained that access to the higher perspective. And that's what I'm seeing with this World card is that you were doing is you were gaining your higher perspective by closing off a cycle that made you believe that all your friendships were going to just lead to emotional pain and loss, so that you could step into a state of trust. I want to say, did I say trust with you guys earlier? Yeah, trusting spirit, because that's not easy. And on the back, we have dare to dream. So you had to learn how to trust in the dreams that you have, in the wisdom that you have, in the support that you have from the outside world, in your own transformation, and in your own ability to create this and to learn how to trust other people. So we have opportunity. Oh, yeah. Learn to see which opportunities are for you and which opportunities are not for you. But you are now stepping into a time of opportunity, and going forward, there will be a far greater amount of opportunities. And I just saw 2222 and 2233 as I was looking. And then we have action. So you're going to be given an opportunity to take some sort of action moving forward that is going to help break you out of this emotional cycle, or not even break you out of it, because you've already broken yourself out of it. It's more along the lines of moving forward, there will be an abundance of opportunities coming into you because you've actually closed that emotional cycle of distrust, mistrust, fear, sadness, pain, betrayal. Betrayal is a strong one, but more so with your friends. Now you're seeing, it's like you've suddenly opened your eyes and you're seeing the whole world differently. And look, the Judgment card has 3 eyes, and we literally have 3 cards with eyes on them. You have opened up all your eyes, your 2 main eyes and your 3rd eye. And because you've done that, it has helped you close this emotional cycle so that you can step into a state of true like opportunity, spiritual opportunity. So this final card is just going to be, the super attractor cards. So this is just something that you can use to move forward out of this phase, because when Saturn goes direct, it's like a bombardment of all of the emotions and the revelations and the things that you've healed, that final like release push forward. So sometimes we just need to be reminded of the positives, the joys, the light, the high end stuff. So it says, the more I attune my energy with appreciation, the more the universe will deliver. See, and this is directly for you. This is about you seeing that no matter how hard it was, and no matter how much you and spirit butted heads, or you and other people butted heads, you really did wear yourself into this beautiful connection together. And now you can really be appreciative of all of these things, because all you're going to see moving forward is opportunities, because you have stepped into a state of trust. You have stepped into a state of trusting yourself, your heart, your wisdom, but also stepping into a state of trusting spirit. And that's a huge deal. That takes you having to retreat from so many things and allowing spirit to pour into you directly. And once you did that, it was like you suddenly aligned to the absolute beauty of your truest path and your truest self. And you see this higher perspective in everything now. And now you are here to move forward and find the opportunities that spirit has been pouring into your energy, preparing you for. Be very, very appreciative. That's one huge thing. Like when you appreciate yourself, you find appreciation outside yourself as well. And I can attest to that. All right, pile 2. I want to say thank you so much to your guides and my guides for facilitating the connection between us. Thank you for being here. And thank you so much, Spirit and Saturn, for these amazing messages, the awareness, the lessons, the blessings, the wisdom, and the love, just all the love. Thank you so much. Pile 2, if this resonated, please hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of my upcoming readings. Down in the comment section below, let us know how this resonated. Reach out to other pile 2s. Let everybody know, like, hey, yeah, I'm stepping into a state of trust. Whatever you want to do, we would love to hear from you. And don't forget to check down in the description box below for my Mars retrograde guidebook. The link is in my author page on Amazon. It's down in the description box. And you can get all of my self-help books as well as the retrograde guidebooks for 2022. And I will be moving on to 2023 in the coming months. So pile 2, thank you again so much. I want to say thank you one more time. I love you guys. I love, love, love you guys. I so deeply appreciate you being here. So thank you again. I will see you next time. Bye. Hello, pile 3. If you chose the Rings rune as well as the card 55 and Palo Santo with Guardian, this is your message about your karmic lessons and blessings. So what I have been doing, because this is a new deck, this is my Herbal Astrology Oracle, which I did do an unboxing on my shorts. I am going to read out of the book what it says about Palo Santo, and then we'll get into your reading. So it says the card 55, Palo Santo and Guardian. Upright means gifts from past lives, activating dormant gifts, connecting to the ancestors, guardian of the sacred, and the sacred trickster. Reversed is dormant gifts, living in the past, latent abilities, and karmic inheritance. And the astrological rulers, which are up on the top, I know I've got stuff blocking it, but it is the South Node and Pluto. And interestingly enough, Pluto is actually the ruler of Scorpio, the modern ruler of Scorpio. And the South Node is currently in Scorpio. And by the time this comes out, it's actually going to come out on the day of the eclipse. And so really, this is about eclipsing out past life cycles and even past cycles from this life in order to bring in something new, bring in a new refreshing energy. Pluto is all about transformation. So let's see what it says. It says the ritualistic burning of Palo Santo, which translates to sacred or holy wood, can be traced back to the Incan Empire, where it was used in spiritual ceremonies to cleanse the body and space of malignant darkness. To this day, it is used ritualistically among many indigenous communities throughout Central and South America, particularly, that's something my husband and I always joke about, particularly to cleanse bad energy, bad air, and the evil eye. Mal de air, translated to bad air, yet it is a spiritual illness believed to be a kind of cold nighttime air created by malignant spirits that enters the body, causing pain, discomfort, sadness, and many other kinds of imbalances. Incan medicine people used this wood in their religious rituals as a tool to neutralize negativity, rejuvenate the body, mind, and spaces, bring peace, balance, and good fortune, and achieve a better spiritual connection with their gods. Scientific studies now show how Palo Santo can relieve stress and anxiety, stimulate circulation, reduce joint and muscle pain, and uplift the mood and the immune system. It is also proven to cleanse the space, dispel bacteria, and act as an insect repellent. Palo Santo's medicinal qualities are very plutonic in nature, as it powerfully cleanses malignant energy while being highly invocatory and perfect for strong intention setting. Palo Santo has a long history of use as a magic wand that unlocks innate gifts that have lain dormant, inactive, or blocked, like wisdom, intuition, and sight to see into the past and past lives. Palo Santo is a protection wood. I'm actually being brought to a scene in Supernatural, and it's in the third season. I want to say the third season, like the second episode or so. And it's about the 7 deadly sins and how they are represented by actual demons. And the brothers, Sam and Dean, come into contact with this husband and wife pair. And it's this long stick of Palo Santo that they use in order to defeat demons. Now, please don't be alarmed. I'm not sitting here saying that you have like a demonic possession or anything like that. In fact, I'm the kind of person where even though I acknowledge that there is some dark energies, I simply don't believe in demons and the devil. And yes, that is kind of astounding. And I'm sure that I'm opening myself up to many people who want to argue with me. And the thing is I've worked with dark energy before. I've cleansed dark energy before. I just recently was called to a family's house where they had been having paranormal, supernatural activity in their house, like literally things being thrown across their house at their faces with no one in the other room. This level of malignant energy. And I was called in to come in and do a spiritual cleanse. Now I'm honored and like truly, truly grateful for the guides and the help that I have on the spiritual side that have helped me do this. And I can say that their home is calm. They said it feels peaceful for the first time in a while. But I didn't come in with anything more or less than having smudged myself with Palo Santo and an awareness of energy. Sometimes we think that there are things that we have to do excessive work on in order to expel it because we think that it's like a negative entity. And in reality, it's Spirit, can you help me explain this? Okay. It's like there's this dark, I'm hearing dirty deeds done dirt cheap in my head right now for some reason. And I do believe that's AC/DC. The essence of that is telling me that it's some people, and in this pile in particular, you are hypersensitive to other people's energies. So if someone else is jealous of you, if someone else feels as though you're encroaching upon them, it's going to, or they just any kind of negativity thrown at you, it's kind of the same as throwing some sort of, I would actually call it more of like a poltergeist energy. It's somebody who actually throws that kind of negative energy at you because of something internally with them that they don't want to face. This is something that I feel like you've been learning over the course of Saturn transiting through Aquarius. You guys may have Scorpio in your 12th house. That would make you, I believe, a Sagittarius rising, which Sagittarius energy is really strong right now. And I can't figure out exactly what it is. I know in my own life for my natal chart, Saturn is in Sagittarius in my natal chart. But I am picking up, this just feels so like Scorpionic 12th house energy. Deep healing is happening in your 12th house. Whether or not you have Scorpio in your 12th house or not, you could have Capricorn in your 12th house, you could have Scorpio in your 12th house, or you could have Sagittarius in your 12th house. And you don't have to have those for this to be your reading, but those are just the energies I'm picking up. It's essentially, I'm picking up so much 12th house energy that I have actually and I have my coffee here to help ground me because I have actually been having trouble navigating through your energies, navigating through these messages. And usually when I acknowledge that, that's when the energy just kind of lightens. For you, it's more like, it's not like you're doing anything that's making it difficult. Normally, if it's like you guys are tense, I'll be able to feel that. But your tarot cards came out very easily and actually quite rapidly. And a lot of them wanted to come out. So to me, that tells me that there's a lot of karmic blessings coming in. With this Guardian card and the Rings card, this is talking about connections to the past, connections to the future. It's talking about connections to other people. But when we talk about inheritances, and especially with this, I actually was sitting trying to kind of get into this energy again, because I have already tried to film this once and it did not work at all. Like the messages, I could not get anything out. It was this huge blockage within my own mind. And I feel like that is something that is coming to be cleansed out. This feeling of a blockage within your own mind, a blockage within your own awareness. But as I was preparing, there's a website that I love using. It's Sabian Oracle, and it just plays off of the Sabian symbols, and the Sabian symbols are channeled from each degree in the zodiac. the two Sabian symbols that came up, and I can't remember what zodiacs or anything like that, but it's more about the messages that they came in. It said a butterfly that has the right wing that is more formed than the left. So it talks about an imbalance, but the right side is masculine or divine masculine, but that wasn't what I was getting. I was actually getting the father's side. And so the left side would be the mother's side. And then the following symbol that I got after that, because I was like, Spirit, what is this about? The following symbol was about family trees and inheritances. And your card is literally talking about that. It's about past life inheritances, dormant gifts coming awake. There are things awakening within you because you may have been healing the family line for your father's side for a very long time. And now the time is coming where your mother's line is actually stepping forward and awakening more. And when I realized that with this pile in particular, I got to thinking about how it correlates to my own life, because that's how my filter works to be able to tell you guys these things. It always has to be correlated to my own life so that I understand within my rational mind how to bring these messages forth. How this correlates is my father's line is British and Irish and Scottish. So I've always been really, really strongly drawn to the Celtic traditions and histories, the goddesses, the fae. I've been very drawn to them. My mother's line, on the other hand, is very Nordic. They are Norwegian. They are very Scandinavian. And, I can actually pull out the accents from my family because I spend so much time with them that this is just genuinely how my family talks. And it's just so great. Okay, I got to turn off Norma. That's my alter ego, Norma, who is actually my great aunt. Her name was Norma. And so whenever I think about how I talk like that, I think about her. She was just a bright shining light. She's just wonderful. I loved her. She passed a few years back. But with this energy, what I've been picking up lately in my own life, and really more so when this reading started coming into my awareness and getting scheduled on, once it was down on my schedule to do, that's when it became overwhelmingly strong. My mother's line, it was like my mother's line started awakening. And this happens when you have healed, when you are a karmic pattern healer and you have healed one side of the family really, really well, like you've cleansed everything you can possibly cleanse out of your mind, your body, your soul from that line, because you know that this is what you're here to do. Then the other side awakens and they're like, okay, now it's time for you to dip your toes here. Now it's time for you to touch into what you have here. And so for some of you, this could be flip-flopped. It could be that your father line is now awakening. It could be that your mother line is awakening. Either way, it's going to apply differently to everyone, but you'll know which line you've been healing. There's also a strong call for you to get in touch with your family tree. Now, and I understand now how blessed I really am for the resources that I have in order to track my lineage, because I use MyHeritage and a couple other sites, but mostly MyHeritage. And they have so much information documented for the US, but also back through England. But my mother's side, I couldn't track very well. Part of that is because I don't speak Norwegian. It's on my to-do list in this lifetime is learn Norwegian, but I don't currently speak Norwegian, so I couldn't track my family line that well. But if you have access to these tools, I feel very strongly like Spirit and Saturn are saying, if you want a leg up for moving forward, this is a really great thing to use. And I'm not affiliated. I promise I'm not affiliated with them. I just really love the site. It's like the program that keeps on giving to me. So with this rings rune, the rings rune talks about commitment. It talks about bringing two pieces together into one. Now that really is the essence of who we each are. We each are one whole individual, and we are brought together by our mother's side and our father's side. But there's also the past and the future coming into alignment within you. Now, the first time I channeled this, I did pick up a past life gift, and I was going to explain it in detail. And I tried before, but that's where I got kind of caught up, and I'm getting caught up again. And it's just because my mind can't wrap itself around it. So I'm going to tell you that you may be feeling as though you can manipulate time. If you feel as though you can manipulate time, it's almost like, those slap bracelets from the 90s? When you open it up, you have to unroll it and then click it in so that it's really strong and firm. And then you slap it onto a wrist and it wraps itself around. But if you don't have a wrist, it just spirals back up. That I look at time like a spiral. I think of time like a nautilus shell because time is not linear. My brain needed something to correlate it to, and spirit brought me the nautilus shell. And I understand time in that way, and it makes perfect sense to me. It's like the most nonsensical sense that I've ever found. And it literally relieved me from so much that I was locking down. But for you, what I feel like is about time being like a spiral, but you have like the ability to make time into a snap bracelet. You can straighten it, you can make it firm, and then you can say, okay, I want to add this to the bracelet and add this to the bracelet. And then you can snap it on your wrist and go about your business. Or you can let it completely wind back up and be like, all right, now I'm done. Now I'm going to go down this path. That's a gift that you have that I feel is awakening within you. And your higher self wants to lead you down that. It is something that comes from one of your family lines. And I can say definitively mothers or fathers, even though mother's line is very, very strong. I do acknowledge the fact that mother's line is very strong in my own personal energy. So I want to make sure that I account for outside energies way more than my own. So let's see. This is the cause that brought you to the lesson. And then these are the blessings. So let's see the cause first. So we have the 5 of Wands. So there was some feeling of having to really battle your way through life. The 5 of Wands, when we're talking about life in general, but the past lives and Pluto, this is like you were fighting for a transformation of self, fighting for your place in the world, fighting for this. But you also, I'm getting like a Valhalla kind of energy here where you're like fighting for some sort of battle that is to come, but isn't here yet. I hope that makes sense. I don't feel like this is a physical battle, and I don't feel like it's something that like you need to be afraid of. It's like this internal battle that you're fighting. So let's see what the lesson was, just to give a better picture of this 5 of Wands. We have the Lovers. Now, the Lovers is not just about relationships, though in some cases, this is you guys having to fight for your relationships. You may have had to fight to make your relationships work, to feel like you have that protection over your connections and over your relationships. The Rings Room does talk about connections, but it feels like you've had to really battle for yourself in these realms of making choices, making decisions. And that really is the essence of the Lovers card. It's the choices and the decisions that we make in our lives. That is what the original meaning of the Lovers card was making a choice, making a decision. And you do that when you make a decision, you have to take into account all facets of who you are. So this is telling me that in the past, it's almost like somebody stripped you of your choices, as though you felt like you were at the mercy of something else. And you know what? If Pluto is dominant in your chart, that's absolutely 100% going to feel that way. And it doesn't matter where Pluto falls in your chart, Pluto can be dominant in your chart. It's just about the energy more than anything. You may have Pluto in Sagittarius. Yeah, Sagittarius is possible. But what I'm really picking up is that it felt like you were at the mercy of whatever it was that you were meant to do, the healing, the battles that you had to wage. You didn't have, it's like you didn't have freedom of choice. And that's really hard, especially if you came to any of my readings and I'm like, hey, your superpower is free will. Your superpower is personal choice. Because when you go through that time frame, and I still stick with it, but I've been through the time frame where it feels like nothing that you're doing is something that you really chose, but you just are instinctually doing it. It was like an intuition training ground and you didn't even realize it. And now what's happening here, this lesson is that you don't have to battle for the choices that you make. You don't have to be afraid of making choices either. Sometimes we are asked to surrender to a greater purpose and a greater path. And then when we're done with that greater path, then we get to evolve. We get to adapt. And there are light orbs everywhere here. You guys may be very, very connected to the spirit realm. So let's find out your karmic blessings, because this energy is so ready to be closed out here. It's so ready to just be like, I'm done. And I can feel that so strongly. So let's look at your blessings. We have the Two of Swords and the Sovereign of Swords, or the Queen of Swords. So this is literally you getting clarity on the places in which you have felt the most blinded, the places you have felt the most clouded, the most blocked off. This is you finally getting clarity, this understanding, this purpose, this peace. This is like, I'm actually seeing like a rise of like guardian angels and guardian spirits coming up to say, hey, this is what's going on for you, and this is where you're moving from here. So we have the card Nature. See, and again, when I look at this card and I tap into the energy, I get that very Nordic feel. If you feel like the Norse gods are calling to you, if you have Nordic ancestry, I would say it's definitely time for you to look into that. But it's almost like you're learning your actual nature. I know this card talks about Mother Nature, but I'm actually getting the essence of this talking about your nature, your soul, your essence, your gifts. It's this awakening and awareness. And all these eyes are here. You guys may be drawn to Egypt and Horus or Thoth. And oh my God, you guys, look, we have the Sovereign again, and Sovereign of Swords. Oh, you guys may be Pisces. You guys may be a Pisces sun, moon, rising. So whenever I tap into sovereign energy, I can't help but think of Neptune, because Neptune is like the only planet that is sovereign in the skies right now. And then we've got the Observer here. And with the Observer, there is a crystal ball. I feel like you guys are psychics that are learning how to stand in your own sovereign authority. Oh my God, that's it. That's it. Oh, there. Oh my gosh. Okay, I have to do this just because for a minute. Man, okay, I want you guys to think about what it means to have the Sovereign of Swords and the Two of Swords. I want you to think about what it means. Because if you've got the Two of Swords and that's being blocked, it's this blindfold energy. But then you've got the Sovereign of Swords. The Queen of Swords doesn't have a blindfold. She doesn't wear it. This is your blessing. Your blessing is sight. Your blessing is sight. Your blessing is sovereign authority over the decisions that you make. Your blessing is the sovereignty of how you move, how you embrace your actual nature in this world, and how you interact with others. This is a huge blessing. It's a blessing of clarity, of peace, of prosperity, of the past, the present, the future, all coming in together at the same time together. And look, fulfillment on the back of the deck. You're literally coming into this now. You may be from Georgia or drawn to Georgia. Actually, if you watched my rising signs and you were drawn to the Fever series, there's an allusion to that here, but it's more about the energy of the message from that. So we have miracles and we have patience. Look at this. And then patience here is literally aiming at the Sovereign of Swords and miracles. So You guys are literally coming into a time of miracles. You have been so patient with this journey, with this battle, with this warrior energy. And you're literally being softened. But what I'm seeing with this Two of Swords, I keep getting drawn back to the Two of Swords, which is why I wanted to flip it for a minute. But I keep getting drawn back to it because it's almost like, is this your guys' stalker card? Like, this is the card that pops up in all your readings and you're actually getting pretty sick of it. If that's the case, I want you to know that the reason why it's been popping up is because this Queen of Swords is with it. And it may or may not have been showing itself to you prior to now, but this is Saturn saying, this is what's ending. This is what's completing. You are now moving out of this Two of Swords energy because you have stepped into the sovereignty. You are very patient with the universe, and the universe, it gifts that level of patience. Sometimes we have to be patient with ourselves, or the universe has to be patient with us. But for someone to be patient with the universe, it's kind of like you were baby stepping the universe into your own sovereignty. And that's freaking amazing. That's a gift that I could not, I don't even know how you do it. Please, like, if you feel like this is something that you want to share with the world, please do. Let me know in the comment section below, because I will definitely come and watch it. So let's get your closing message. This is the Super Attractor deck, and we're just going to get one quick message from the deck for you. Okay, it says, I am kind and loving toward others while creating clear boundaries that protect my good feeling emotions. I feel like this is what you did with the universe. Like, you were like, okay, universe, I want to feel this way. And I've been in this energy plenty long enough. So I want to have free reign. I want to have the freedom of choice back. I did all the healing. Now I want to choose. I've been really patient with you while you do all your fun stuff out here. And now I'm ready for my miracles. So bring it on. Bring them in. I'm getting clarity. It's like your actual nature, your inner nature is awakening, and your power is awakening, and you're standing in your sovereignty, and your path is completely protected here. But there are so many things from past lives that are going to be awakening now that you have released yourself from feeling trapped and opened yourself up to clarity. And now I see why I struggled so much with your reading in the beginning, because you're sitting in that Two of Swords energy. It's really hard to navigate through it, and it's hard to see it. Man, you guys have miracles. And even with this Two of Swords, you literally have a double rainbow with miracles. This is such a beautiful energy. So definitely keep those boundaries down, but thank you for what you do. All right. So pile 3, I want to say thank you so much for being here. Thank you to your guides and my guides for facilitating the connection between our energies. Thank you so much to Spirit for bringing these messages forth. And thank you, Saturn, for the lessons that you teach us so that we may rise up and overcome and continue to move forward. Saturn, I always welcome your presence on my channel, so thank you. All right, pile 3. Don't forget to check the description box below for links to my author page and that Mars retrograde guidebook. Work with the energy, not against the energy. I know Saturn is done with his retrograde because that's why we're doing this. But if you want to do a review of the lessons, Saturn's retrograde guidebook is there with all the lessons in it. And we can always learn retroactively, essentially. So definitely go check those out. Let us know in the comment section below, like, what are you doing? I'm curious, because the universe is like being super sly with this. And so is Saturn. Like, we've got surprises. So I'm curious about you guys. All right. If this resonated, please hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of my upcoming videos. And thank you again so much for being here. I love you all. I will see you at my next reading. Bye. Hello, pile 4. If you chose the 4th stone, the star rune, as well as the card Kava Kava and Community, which is the card number 48, this is your message about your karmic lessons and blessings. Now, this is my new Herbal Astrology Oracle deck, and because it is a brand new deck, even though I have read through and really tapped into the energies, I did want to read the book for each of the cards. So we're going to start with that. So it says 48 Kava Kava community. Upright meaning is celebration, kinship with tribe, community, friendship, union, finding your chosen family. Reversed is separation, seriousness, not wanting to connect with others, and loneliness. The astrological ruler of this is Pluto and the moon. So you may have Pluto or your moon or both together in your natal chart. Pluto may be in Scorpio with the moon. You may have a Scorpio moon, or you may have Pluto and or the moon in the 4th house. Or you may have the moon in Capricorn in your natal chart. You don't have to have those specific placements for this to apply, but those are some of the energies I was picking up. So it says Kava in Tongan means bitter, and in Hawaiian it's called awa. Legend has it that Kava was brought over to the islands by the gods Kane and Kanaloa from their ancestral Polynesia. Kava was known as the drink of the gods and honored across the Pacific Islands. Kava is believed to first have originated in the northern Vanuatu thousands of years ago. Okay, guys, I just have to say this, that my words have been tripping all over themselves. So I just wanted to throw that out there. If it seems like I'm kind of out of it, this is how this reading has been. And tapping into Saturn's energy, this is what it was like when I was trying to write my Saturn retrograde guidebook too. It took a long time. Okay, considering the plant lacks seeds or a means of self-propagate, it is believed that it was tended to by the gods until the first indigenous peoples arrived. Kava tea was regarded as a blessing and poured onto shrines, then later drunk by the kahuna, or spiritual leader of the ceremony. It was considered holy and only given to those of high rank. But eventually, it became more widely accessible, and to this day, it is drunk in ceremonies to bring the community together. Sometimes called the intoxicating pepper, the effects of Kava are a curious combination of deep relaxation alongside stimulation to the central nervous system. Kava is relaxing to muscles and dampens pain while increasing the flow of thoughts. Kava can greatly increase mental clarity, ease depression, confusion, and sorrow, and sharpen intuition. Kava directly affects the limbic system, the control center of our emotions, just as the moon does. Plutonian herbs like Kava cause deep transformation in our emotional mind. The energy of Pluto is that of regeneration, allowing us to decompress from accumulated emotions through the volcanic power of catharsis. Okay, and I am skipping the guidebook portion or the guidance portion of it. Something I just came to realize, and I gotta say this just because this is a very curious thing. And when I have these revelations, it's something that I feel like I have to share. The way that each of these cards have been, every single one of them have been something that just kind of slows you down, dampens you. Works as like an anti-anxiety and it's almost like I want to say an analgesic. So it works very similar to like an analgesic is like Oragel, so that it like numbs things. But it's not about numbing. None of these things are about numbing, and that's something that you're learning too, and something that feels like Pluto or Saturn is really coming forward and being like, you were in all of these different communities in the past that numbed you. That, oh my gosh, I just had massive deja vu. I haven't had something like this for a while. Wow, you guys are part of my soul tribe. I've been having divination dreams for like months, but the past week has been so much stronger. But it's been very like cloudy and misty in my dreams. But this was just like a massive hit of like deja vu. So you may have been in these groups in which you like communities of people or I heard group think. So in these groups where everybody is thinking the exact same thing and you're like the unique little butterfly dancing to the beat of your own drum, and you may have been questioning, like, why am I in this community? They don't appreciate me. They don't like me. They don't they're taking me for granted. And with the star energy, it's literally like, this is what you are hoping for. This is what you're dreaming of. This is what your main goal is. You want this community. You want to feel like you belong somewhere. And this card 48 reduces down to 12, which is a lot of Neptunian energy. It's about shifting your perspective. So Spirit and Saturn are coming in hot and fast now that, like, we broke that barrier. And you've been in these communities in which they've just been kind of dulling you. They've been dulling your shine. And now I'm brought back to that revelation that I had. Every time I've tapped into these cards, the energies of the actual herbs themselves have come in through the energy of the readings. So like Kava Kava talks about it being like, okay, I gotta pull it up because it does, like, my brain is like firing on all pistons, but I'm still like kind of slow. So it's deep relaxation along with stimulation. So it's kind of like, it's like being rewired, but I can feel the energy of the Kava Kava plant. And this is something that I used to say about crystals. Okay, if you don't have access to some of these herbs, but you feel very called to them, you can actually tap into their energies without having to have the herbs. This is, and I mentioned this before with crystals way, way, way back. I want to say during one of my Reiki videos. But this is what's coming through again, which means that this is a gift that you have. And I know this is a gift that I have in a certain way, but I've never really tinkered or played with this gift. But now I'm starting to understand it a little bit better. You can actually tap into the beneficial energies of these things without having to actually engage in it. It's like ashwagandha or even something like peyote. You could actually like tap into the energy of it and have those profound experiences without actually doing that, without actually smoking peyote. And the reason why I mention this is because I can actually feel it feels like I just took something that has altered my mentality, but not in a bad way. It's very similar to how it felt when I used to take Ritalin for my ADHD, where I just would start firing very on. And Ritalin is a stimulant. So this works like a stimulant. So you may have been, I'm all over the place, but trust me, we'll get to it. It's because of this star. It's because I literally can feel the excitement of the planets, and especially Saturn, letting you know, like, the hopes, the dreams, the wishes, the enlightenment that you've gotten from all of these communities where you didn't belong has enlightened you to the community that you are now building because it's what is right for you. It's kind of like me in this channel. Okay, I don't know if you guys caught my last Let's Talk, and it was listening versus hearing. So when I did that reading, I talked about, gosh, I just lost the train of thought. Spirit, can you help me get back to it? I talked about my community here and about the purpose of these pick a cards being for you to see that you're not the only person going through what you're going through right now. And I do that. I want that. And I'm trying to build that within this community that I want it to be almost like a self-sustaining community. It's like a self-sustaining energy system. You have your own filtration system, so the air never goes anywhere else, but it stays where it's at, but it stays clean air. I want my community to be very self-sustaining. I want people to lean on each other, to see that they have other people in their soul families here within this community, even though they may not realize it that way. But I want I want that for them, not because I want my community to be super special in comparison. No, it's because I never had that. I found myself in all of these communities that just wanted to take my light and use it for themselves. I found myself in some of the most toxic communities ever and had to extricate myself from that. And I get the feeling that you guys understand exactly what I mean, because I get the feeling that you found yourself in that. But if you look here, look at how this community is celebrating, and they're all different. They're different skin, different genders, different everything, but they're all celebrating together. You're building a community moving forward. You will be building the community that you've been dreaming of. It's not about finding yourself there. It's about building it for yourself. And Saturn and Pluto and the moon and the sun, I wanted to say spirit, but I guess the sun came through. But spirit definitely want you to know that this is what you're doing now. And look down here on the bottom. Okay, look at the bottom. They literally have seeds that are sprouting up, and you can see the roots. You can see how connected everything is. You finally are figuring out all the different ways in which the communities that have dulled your shine and have dulled you down have been connected to the greater whole and why you're here and what you're doing. And that's going to actually help you to build the community that you want to have in your life. This is a really beautiful energy. You guys have like once I broke through that initial barrier and then figured out that I was tapping into like the actual energy of the Kava Kava, then I was like, oh, that makes sense. Because if you go back and look at what the other ones are, you'll see like this has been some sluggish energy that I've been working through, but I didn't feel necessarily like it was your guys's. Just felt like the energy was. And that can happen when Saturn stations direct or retrograde. Saturn, who feels like the great slowdown planet, it's like dragging through mud, his energy. But there are times and ways in which we can break through that, just like these little seeds are sprouting through it. And you guys have that energy within you. You guys have the energy of actually utilizing any of stations, any of the planetary stations in new ways, but you can also tap into the energies of things in the physical world without having to actually interact with them. It's kind of like visualization meditations where you just welcome in the spirit of the plant or the spirit of the crystal. So like this is pyrite. You could literally welcome in the spirit of pyrite into your life and start tapping into that. I do suggest doing research before you're like, I'm going to tap into psilocybin and work with that energy. Definitely do your research. And I know I picked psilocybin solely because I have personal experience with it, but do your research and figure out what aspects of it you want to connect to, how you want to really flow with it, and how you want to interact with it, and set that as your intention, and then do it in a sort of meditative stance. It's kind of, this is so profound. It's so crazy. I love this. This is like a gift that's awakening for you guys, this revelation that you can do this. I'm going to take just a pause here. I got to go let Willow in. She's whining and it's kind of chilly outside. Say hi. Say hi. Willow, be nice. Be kind. Don't bite. Be kind. Don't bite. Be kind. Be kind. You say hi. You say hi. You say hi. Look up here. She's like, no, Mom. I want it. Mom, love me. Love me. Mom. Do you wanna do this? Say hi, pile 4. Okay, guys. Lay down. Yes, I am that crazy dog, Mom. No, I'm not. Sorry. Hi, chunkers. Hi, chunker butts. So that's David's dog. Willow, leave those alone. That's David's dog, Chunk. Hi, baby. We call her the old grandma because she's like 7 years old. But she's an old English bulldog. And David wanted a big fat bulldog and then didn't realize that old English bulldogs don't really get all that chunky. But he still named her Trunk anyway. All right. So we were talking about you tapping into these energies. So you can just set the intention that this is what I want to tap into. So you know what I'm going to do? This is so weird. I want you guys to do something with me. Look, psilocybin is literally on the bottom. Guys, there's no, I want to say there is absolutely no judgment on my channel. So if you are, say, a microdoser, like, more power to you. I did that for a while this summer to really help me overcome a lot of deep anxiety and deep depression that I just struggled so hard with. But, okay, just one. Okay, we're going to go. Yeah. Card 17, Gotu Kola. I probably saying it wrong. But it's about higher consciousness, and it's the card 17. And we're working with Mercury and the moon energy. So there is a parallel here with these two. But let's pull it out. When I read this, I want you guys to close your eyes. And I want you to picture this plant. I'm going to move it up for you so you can look at the ways. It almost looks like a dollar weed. Honestly, like right here, it almost looks like a dollar weed. And we actually have those that like grow out in our yard. I'm not even kidding. But I want you to picture the plant itself. It's about hermit, solitude, soul searching, realization, greater knowing, and enlightenment. Oh my gosh. Some plants resemble the parts of the human body they affect, a natural phenomenon called, oh my gosh, Willow. You guys, she has a little pop-up tent, and she couldn't get out the door. So she took it on a roll. She's such a goof. There you go, baby. Okay, I want you to picture this plant and try and tap into it. So it says a natural phenomena called the doctrine of signatures, and it proves to be true in the case of Gotu Kola, which is shaped like the human brain. For thousands of years, it has been used in India for focus, cognitive function, and overall mental performance, creating a harmonizing healing effect. Okay, I'm not going to read any further than that. I don't know. I can't remember which sign it was, but I want to teach you guys something here. Inside of our brains, we have the pineal gland, and the pineal gland is known very well for being the third eye. The third eye, it's shaped very similar to a bean inside your brain, in the middle of your brain. So what I'm picking up from this is that you actually can activate your pineal gland, your third eye, by going into a state in which you're actually accessing different herbs. So you can actually picture this herb and then picture it like blossoming or sprouting from your actual brain. That's so crazy. Okay. Yeah, I want you guys to just picture it blossoming inside of your mind and allow for new levels of awareness to come in, and be very open to that. You can do that during this reading as I finish reading the cards, or you can move on and do it afterwards. Because I have the feeling that a lot is going to just kind of blow up in your brain, and in a really good way. It's like breaking your brain. It's like your mind has been in a cocoon. You're learning how to break the butterfly free. And I was looking at this butterfly, and that's what I was seeing. Okay, so this is the cause and this is the lesson. And then these are the blessings. So let's find out the cause and the lesson of this community card, this energy of awareness now. So give me just one moment. I've got to double check the dog to make sure she's not getting into anything, and then I will be right back. Okay, my loves, I am back. Out of all the piles, you guys have been the ones where I've been the most like ping, 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 ping in my life. This is what happens when I film on the weekends. Or rather just like the weekends that I have my kids. When they're with their respective parents, not quite so much. So let's take a look at the cause and the lesson. The cause is the 3 of coins. Oh my God. You guys, seriously, I said that you were going to be building a community. This is literally what this is saying. The cause of you being in all the communities that felt like the wrong communities is literally because you needed to come to the revelation that you are meant to build the community that you are meant to be in. It wasn't about you finding your place. It was about you creating your place. And then we've got the 7 of Wands. Yeah. And the lesson is that you're not meant to have to defend your place within a community because you're the builder. I love when the cards support what I've been saying. It always makes me feel so like squishy and happy. So you guys are the builder. It's not something that you're not meant to have to defend your place. Like, look at this. These hands are literally defending their place. They're fighting off these 5 wands and it's keeping them crossed. It's keeping them blocked because they have to keep them crossed to cover the greater field. You're not meant to be in a community that makes you feel like you have to defend who you are, that you have to protect yourself from these people. You're meant to build a community that shows people what it's like to be a part of something whole and healthy and loving and accepting of the whole healthy human being. That's such a beautiful thing. Oh my God, the world needs more people like you. I'm just saying. Okay, so the blessings here, the 7 of coins and death. Oh, this is so great. Okay, so the 7 of coins talks about waiting for things to blossom, waiting for things to occur. This is literally like you've been waiting for this transition. You've been waiting for a rebirth. And this is saying that what your blessings are is everything that you've been waiting on to blossom and to be overcome and to be reignited and whatever that's coming. This death card, you may have even been waiting for, without realizing it, waiting for certain people to awaken. And they're awakened now. So your community is going to start coming together because you've been so patient. Oh my God, I love this. Like you've really, I'm looking at this 7 of coins and I don't get any of the energies of the traditional meaning, but I do see it as like a community in and of itself. You've been forging these connections that are ready to align. And that's what I see with this death card is all the things that you've been building are actually now becoming a part of themselves and they're starting to align. And we've got the card release. So now you can go through this cleansing and this is like a heart-centered release. You've gone through an emotional release. Whatever it is that you are waiting on releasing or that you feel like you have released to the world, that's going to be coming back to you now. We have the card strength here too. And on the back of the deck, we have surrender. So this is telling me a lot about what your blessings are. It's saying that your blessings are literally like everything that you've released, and this could be projects, this could be people, anything and everything that you would qualify under the realm of, I have released this from my life. Or I have released this to the world. It's all now interconnected and the world is aligning to you. It's like you're the flower here and you can see the 2 snakes and they had this like really long winding journey, but they've come together. They've come into alignment and now they're coming towards you. So there may be 2 projects, 2 realms of items or something that are aligning to each other. But you've really been able to bridge everything together in such a beautiful way. And it took true strength of character, strength of will, strength of faith for you to be like, okay, I'm going to release all of this negativity. I'm going to release all of these emotions. I'm going to release everything. And I'm going to just utterly surrender to the universe and say, what do you want me to do? And then you followed exactly what the universe said. Saturn is saying that you have so many karmic blessings. You have so many blessings, just many, many blessings. I'm hearing many blessings that are going to be coming into your life in the coming weeks, months. I just heard it's going to be going for years. Like it's going to be going for years. It doesn't mean that it's going to take years. And that distinction is being made very, very clear. It's going to be coming for years. 3s and 7s may be significant numbers for you because 48 reduces to a 12, which also reduces to a 3. Then we've got the 3 here and then a 7 and a 7. So 3s and 7s may be significant for you. You may be a life path 3 or a life path 7. You may be personality 3 or 7 or soul urge 3 or 7. Either way, but those are numbers that are sticking out to me. It may have been like 3 to 7 months, 3 to 7 years in which you've been working on these things. The 3 and the 7 just seem so prominent. And that, well, that's the Empress and the Chariot energy too. Because I was just shown the Empress and the Chariot. So this is like victory in your creative endeavors and the things that you're creating in this world. Wow, I love how full circle everything comes. But whatever you've released, whatever inner strength that you have had to really pull from the depths of yourself and your soul and hold tightly to, because you've been asked so much. This is now coming back to you tenfold. Whoa, tenfold. That makes sense. 3 and 7 makes 10. Wow. That is a rule of the universe. It's one of the rules. There's the 3-fold and the 10-fold rule. So this is why there's that saying of what you do to others, you do to yourself. I don't know if you guys were part of that pile, the Justice pile from Lexi the Leo's collaboration that she and I did. But that energy came through with Justice. What you do to others, you do to yourself. We have wisdom. See, and that's something that you learned. It's kind of like you really literally learned about what not to do in a community. Wow. We have healing chaos, and then we have stillness. You learned what not to do in a community based off of what you experienced in these other communities. And even though there were like 60 cards that flew on the floor, on the bottom is community, guys. So you're literally like, you took a step back and this stillness card is telling me that you literally stepped away from something that was on the way to being destroyed. It may not be destroyed yet, but it's on its way. That's strong. But look, we've got so many butterflies. We've got butterflies here and butterflies here within the community. Like I said, you're breaking your mind out into this butterfly energy. But when you stopped engaging in these communities, that's when you actually started to see the ways in which they were not serving you or themselves or others. They were just really, really, I'm hearing the word toxic. And instead of lashing out, you took the higher road, the wiser approach. You may have spoken out about it. In some way, shape, or form, but done it in a very kind of eloquent manner. That's what I'm getting from this wisdom card. It's like you spoke out about the emotions of it without actually like calling it out, and Spirit's really acknowledging that. So I felt called to pull 2 cards for you guys. It says, directing my focus onto what's thriving creates more of what I want. Yes, absolutely. All right. And then finally we have, I feel my way into faith one step at a time. So this is telling me that you guys have quite literally moved yourself out of this. Why isn't this working? Why isn't this a community for me? All of the questioning and the wondering and everything that you did. And because of that, it really helped heal this energy within yourself of why don't I ever belong? And why doesn't this community ever appreciate me, or that community ever appreciate me? It's because you needed to appreciate yourself and then build the community that was right for you. And building a community, it doesn't necessarily mean something like what I'm doing on YouTube. It could, if that's what resonates for you. It could just be like you getting pets and having a community of you and your pets. It could be within your community outside your house. It is going to vary for everyone. So use this as it applies in your life for where in the world you feel as though you're appreciated. That's the biggest thing. This could even be within your community of spirit guides and spirit, where you're literally feeling your way into the community within your guidance team, one step at a time, because you feel like you've had to defend yourself against against everything in the past. So that it's made you feel like your team isn't there, but they are. And they're really calling you, and spirit is really calling you to focus on what's thriving. And that's what Saturn wants you to do. The more that you focus on what you're building rather than defending what you're building, the more that will prosper. Okay. Pile 4. I feel like this was like an all over the place reading, but usually every time I feel that way, it's like a magnitude of people and then spot on energy. So I really always trust the chaotic energies and the chaotic messages the most, just because it seems to hit enough people. And I love doing that. I love making sure that I really reach as many people as I can when I do this. So Pile 4, I want to say thank you so much for being here. Thank you for all the energy and everything that you have endured. Thank you so much. Like, it really does mean a lot, not just to me, but to the planets and to spirit and to your guides. So I want to say thank you so much to your guides and my guides for facilitating the energy between us. Thank you to Spirit for these amazing messages. And thank you so much to Saturn for all of the lessons and the blessings that you bring into our lives. We really do appreciate you, even if sometimes we have a hard time saying it. All right, Pile 4. If this resonated, please hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit the little notification bell. That way you get notified every time I upload a new video. You don't miss any of my uploads. Down in the description box, you will find links to my author page on Amazon. Go check that out. Grab your Mars retrograde guidebook today. It is going to be so helpful to get through the Mars retrograde cycle that starts October 30th and then runs until January 12th of this year. All right. And let us know down in the comment section below how this resonated. I would love to know. I'm very curious about what you're building. All right, Pile 4, I love you guys so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you again for being here. And I will see you all next time. Bye.